Hello guys, and you have to be very kind to me today because I watched all of the Tucker Carlson's interview with the Russian minister Lavrov. It was difficult, and now I need to turn on a very sarcastic Anna regime because how else can I comment this expert of Russian narratives to the USA and the world in general? In this interview, Lavrov did his best to charm the newly elected president of the United States, Donald Trump, and he even forgot to threaten the people of the United States with Oreshnik, so that Carlson literally had to remind him about that, asking a very direct question repeatedly. If you have to sum up the main BS messages sent by Lavrov, I have to start with Russian promises of security guarantees to Ukraine, which will be better than any NATO. Another thing surprised Lavrov is why people of Finland stopped playing hockey and going to sauna with him. What happened? And I know I have to congratulate people of Finland with the Day of Independence today and their wise decision to join the NATO. So let's discuss the meaning of this interview, its symbolism, what was the reason and what are the main messages. Can they actually influence the future of Russian-Ukrainian war? My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the collapse of the Kremlin and also protect yourself against their evil, toxic, destructive narratives, subscribe, we discuss all of that on the channel. You know, I'm always honest with you, and I always feel very offended whenever Russian mass murderers, war criminals have an opportunity to speak to the global audience. Because when people push the ideas that two sides of the story must be heard, I wonder why you forget about the fact that Ukraine suffers from Russian attacks, destructions and murders on a daily basis and in a very big size. Just today, 9 people killed after their attack on Zaporizhia, and we try to understand what is the reason. The reason is that Russia is a criminal mafia state that must be defeated and demilitarized. Lavrov tried to persuade us in the country, demonstrating Russian art of manipulation and lies. One of his main messages was that Russia values territorial integrity, and that is why they decided to add Ukrainian regions of Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, Kherson and Crimea to the Russian constitution. He even does not explain what are the reasons for that. He says, well, this is a new reality. So that's the way Russia plans to change the world order. They attack, they kill, they destroy, and then they say, well, there are new realities. He also kept reminding that one of the main Russian missions is to avoid the nuclear war. And that is in the context when Russia is the only country right now threatening literally everybody with nuclear weapons. What is important in this context is that actually Oreshnik missile was not an answer to the permission to use long-range missiles by Ukraine, which was reported by many. In reality, after we know about the call between General Gerasimov of Russia and General Brown in the USA, we realized that these were planned drills not connected to ATACMS strikes. And in his conversation with Carlson, who kept asking Lavrov about the dangers of not appeasing Russia, he did not threaten the United States or anyone else with Oreshnik. Well, because his task was to charm Donald Trump. And this is another proof that Russia, first of all, has totally different messages for totally different audiences. And the very same Lavrov said totally different things the day before and the day after, when describing war in Ukraine as an action organized by the United States using Ukrainian soldiers, and of course, forgetting about 300 of years of wars between Russia and Ukraine. Lots of very bloody years between us in times when NATO did not exist. Trust me, I'm Ukrainian, and please share these videos on your social media platforms to help us fight against Russian fake narratives and also demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine. But also, I want to tell you one very important moment. Russian Minister Lavrov is not a decision maker in the Kremlin. He is the speaking head. He is one of the main propagandists. He is one of the main manipulators that substitute realities. Typically, Russia accuses you of something that it intends to do by itself. And Putin and just a very little number of people around him, like Naryshkin, security services, like Kovalchuk, these are the ones who decide something. Many blame that Lavrov did not know about the start of the full-scale invasion even. But now he explains everything in a totally perverted way. And if you're interested, I don't know, in the theory of lies or human psychology of some maniacs, you do have to watch this video, because you literally have a person that threatens the world with nuclear weapons and says we're doing everything to avoid it. We have a person who says that respects territorial integrity and attacks the largest country in Europe and starts changing the constitution of Russia based on these military actions. Also a person that kept demonstrating that they are doing good in reality when they kill Ukrainian children, when they steal Ukrainian children, when they literally break all the laws. It's so obvious. And I see this fashion in media, on YouTube, on Twitter, everywhere, that people take a crazy pro-Russian propagandist and put a Ukrainian and want them to fight and like persuade you, the audience. It's not a circus. It's not a show. It is a very hard reality for the Ukrainian people that stand against the growing evil, because it's already Russia, Iran, North Korea, China. These are your enemies too. Mind that. And Russian war crimes are obvious. What they are talking about, we were afraid of the NATO expansion. After Finland joined NATO, Russian border with NATO doubled. And we are an independent nation that has a right to enter whatever we want. And NATO did not plan to attack Russia. You see, NATO does not plan to defend itself against Russia. It's so obvious. So I hate it when such propagandists, such war criminals are given platforms to try to explain their actions when there is none. Sometimes I have this bad feeling that if Tucker Carlson lived in 1939, 1940, he would interview Hitler or Goebbels and make them sound as humanists, because, you know, like if you dig that deep and if you manipulate that hard, you can commit crimes with interviews too. And that is why our community is so valuable. Please share these messages on your social media platforms. Together today we celebrate the Day of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. And it's a very proud day. Also remember that thousands of those who are now Ukrainian soldiers just a war ago were ordinary teachers, doctors, baristas, photographers, and now they stand against this evil on a global level. And now they stand not just for Ukraine, but for the defeat of authoritarian regimes. And I hope that our enemies are your enemies too, because we illustrate love for human life, for democracy, for freedom and choice, and they disrespect everything. They disrespect international laws by which we lived quite good for a very long period of time. And that is why it's so important to remain united and to not let yourself be manipulated. Stop listening to conversations of war criminals. Look at their actions. I know it's hard, but it's very important. Join me on Instagram, join me on X, I'm fighting that on Blue Skies, the community is growing, and on Threads. We have a nice Discord community too. And also, I invite you for a live tomorrow. I know it's quite unexpected, but the next week I might be in the capital, the brave Kyiv, so I thought it would be nice to chat with you this Saturday. So let me know if you are available at 9 p.m. Kyiv time. I would love to see you. Thank you so much for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. Thank you for supporting our NEFO campaign. We have 4% left. Please help us finish it and support Ukraine with important drones that save lives. Check our merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine, but also smart, beautiful Christmas presents. But most importantly, thank you for standing with us. Thank you for standing against this evil. It is very important. It may be one of the most decisive moments in the modern human history. And I'm grateful that you are on the side of light and good. Slava Ukraini!